Okay, we're recording. I hope you're ready to go.
Wonderful.
We're
Hi,
gonna
Ingrid.
Hi, we're gonna start with a PSA. Soul Spa H2O. Brighten your day.
We're talking about water today with Ingrid. We're talking about water with Ingrid.
Yeah, okay.
And a little humor. So,
Okay.
Ingrid, thank you so much for doing this
You're welcome.
with me, taking the time. It's a Saturday in New England. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm
Happy
sure that
coffee.
you would rather be doing that, but you're here talking to us. So,
Yeah, I have yard work to do, but
yeah,
but
yeah,
this is my preference.
yeah.
I love talking about this stuff. So hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you again. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Ingrid Nevar, and um, I am, I do a lot of things.
Mhm,
I am a sign language interpreter.
mhm.
I've done that for a long time. I am a licensed massage therapist.
Mhm,
Um, my license is still active, though I'm not sure how long I'm going to leave that active.
mhm,
I am a certified biofield tuner.
mhm.
I learned from Eileen McCusick. I was certified by Eileen McCusick in Northern Vermont. I am a Reiki practitioner, master teacher, um,
You do a
mostly
lot.
practitioner.
You do a lot.
Yeah, and then I also lead group meditations and science meets spirit conversations. I volunteer for the Lightfield Foundation, and I also run Conscious Technology for Conscious Technologies LLC.
Mhm,
And then sometimes I accompany them on to expos to talk about their tech.
mhm.
It's kind of what I talk about in terms of the Science Meets Spirit conversations that we have on Zoom on Sunday nights. If
Okay.
you're interested, you can go to the lightfieldfoundation.com and
Mhm.
sign up for the
Sunday, seven
newsletter.
o'clock Eastern time.
Sundays, seven
Okay.
o'clock Eastern time, correct. Um, it's free. It's a nonprofit, and I mostly what we call them is Science Meets Spirit. Mark Newkirk conversations. Mark Newkirk was an engineer who created the light field,
Mm.
and that was the first piece of conscious technologies in his family. When Mark transitioned out of his physical body in 2019, his son started downloading. Although his son was creating conscious technology before Mark left his body, he started having pretty massive downloads after that point, and um,
Can
has
you
his own business in Rhode Island.
can you back up a
Yeah,
little bit and tell us
sure.
what is conscious technology?
So conscious technology is technology based in quantum and plasma physics.
Mhm,
So the things that we talk about in the Sunday, let me put my coffee down. The things we talk about in the Sunday night Zooms
mm,
are in the last several years before Mark transitioned, he did a lecture circuit and he recorded a lot of his lectures talking about the cutting edge science in the last 110, 15, 20 years now. Um, that transitions us from Newtonian physics, the physics of the physical universe, the things you can touch and see,
mhm,
the things that we believe to be real,
mhm.
the science that's still taught in most schools and colleges,
Yeah.
unless you're at grad student PhD level physics,
Mhm.
then we're gonna learn something else.
So
But
it's pretty much a secret to everyone,
mostly, I mean, a
every
lot of
lay person around here, but it's
mostly
coming out.
it's been seeping in.
Yeah.
It started seeping in through like The Secret. It started seeping in through, Abraham Hicks and
Mhm.
Law of Attraction.
So now it's
um
Joe Dispenza and like
right,
it's coming.
yes, so
So
that had to kind of clear out the obsession that Americans have for the physical, for things,
yeah,
which is sort of where the law of attraction took a lot of people, unless you were actively engaged in spiritual practice and then you comprehended the spiritual
right.
connotation to the law of resonance, which is a more fundamental law. And
Mm,
so that's what we talk about on Sunday nights. We talk about how do you how are we getting ready to become conscious, responsible creators of the world that we want to create?
Right.
We've been creating the world for
Yeah.
thousands of years unconsciously, for the most part. And so the transition into conscious co-creation. So conscious technologies is technology that is designed to help us become more conscious human beings. And the principles that it uses from quantum physics and plasma physics are frequency, the frequency of geometry, light, and sound.
Okay, so most of us, probably all of us listening to this right now,
Mhm.
understand sound bowls, sound baths,
Makes you feel good, huh?
right? Okay, so then I feel like the next level of understanding for the masses would be biofield tuning,
Okay. Yeah,
right?
Eileen has been talking about biofield tuning for at least 10 years,
Yeah,
a little bit longer.
because
But
sound
yes,
healing was always very woo-woo. Now it's like people understand it. They
right,
don't know what
right,
changes for them when they go
right,
to a group
right.
music healing,
Yeah,
but they
technically
know
not
something
woo woo
happens.
anymore because we
Exactly.
2022 we have the Nobel Peace or the Nobel Prize for Science in quantum and plasma physics. And so that thing that has been considered woo is no longer woo.
Exactly.
We are beginning to comprehend as a species
Yep.
um our innate abilities
Mhm.
and also to simultaneously realize that we have been dumbed down significantly in
Right.
history.
So we have the resonance and we understand the resonance and the frequency with the music bowls and the sound baths.
Yep.
Then people are starting to learn about biofield tuning
Okay.
and Reiki and energy and chakras and all of that stuff. I feel like your core harmonizer downstairs, your pendant that you're wearing,
Body harmonizer.
the the light field foundation, these are coming, but they're like next level.
Yeah.
They're woo kind of now because people don't understand it. And why do they not understand it? Because it hasn't been accessible to them up until now. And that's what we're talking about here.
Right.
Right?
We are coming out of an era. I'll say it that way. We're
Yeah.
coming out of several eras um that have really pushed chaos theory, which is sometimes also called quantum theory. But chaos theory, and let me back up and just say I'm not a trained scientist, I'm not a trained physicist. But if I had to do my schooling again, it probably wouldn't be linguistics, it would be math and science. I would
Yeah.
probably be focusing on STEM because this stuff really, really lights me up. Um, so the way that I comprehend what is happening now is that we are beginning to be empowered.
Mhm.
um, we are coming out of systems that have squelched us. And so we are programmed
Mhm.
into chaos. We're programmed into incoherence. We're programmed and we're so surrounded and bombarded in all of our lives in so many directions that keep us in this state of stress.
Yep.
And so conscious technology was created to help de-stress people. The frequencies that they use when you play a bowl, if it's depending on the frequency that the bowl is playing, because bowls play different frequencies,
Mhm.
the frequencies that conscious technologies uses are mostly 528 and 432.
Mhm.
Now, lots of people have heard, oh, 432. Wait, what is that? Isn't there something about music? Like something about music? For the longest time, music, popular music, has been played in a 440 hertz, which is actually disruptive to the human body.
Mm.
And so, you might want to think like, oh, disruptive like metal, right? Like headbanging metal. And sort of, but not quite. It can sound like it might be calming music, but if you listen to it in 440, there's a fundamental difference between that same song played in 432. So
Are we talking like
432
Disney, that kind of thing?
Disney.
Disney, their music somehow is like hypnotic and makes you kind of in this like dreamy state.
Interesting, I've never heard that. I've never heard that. I would have to look at, so I don't know. I can't answer that
Putting it
question.
on my pad.
Put
All
it on
right.
your pad, write that down.
Okay. Let's look that up.
I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but 432, if you know, you've seen the cymatics, the
Mhm.
where they put sand on speakers,
Yep.
right? And depending on what's being played, the sand will form into geometric shapes.
Yes.
So the geometries that are created in physicality and in
Reality.
no pretty bottle of water, um, are either incoherent or coherent. We had mentioned that we were going to talk about Dr. Emoto
Yes, this would
and
be a perfect.
segue.
Yeah, absolutely, because
So
it's all related.
it's all
Water,
related. The
harmony,
idea of water
frequency.
holding a frequency. And you can see that frequency in the work that he did in, if you buy his books, all of the images of the water, right? The droplets of water that were in jars and labeled, and then, you know, a drop was taken out and then frozen. The geometries that the water held that had, you know, words on it like anger, hate, jealousy, right? They're all contorted.
And
They're
discolored.
discolored,
Yeah,
incoherent.
it's so clear.
You can do it with seeds and grow things, and then the seeds that are grown under those negative, angry emotions turn to muck and
Mm.
the, and then the stuff that's you know, got harmony, love, peace,
Yeah,
like the
we all
positive,
know we're supposed to
more
talk to the
positive
plants
emotions
and love the plants.
that what those bring to fruition are very different. So
Mhm.
lots of popular music is created in 440, and what you want to do is to try to find music that's created in 432, because what that's bringing into the body
Mhm.
and into the physical structure, the water, what we're like 85% water, like the water in our bodies is resonating with the sound of either the tuning forks, the singing bowls, the music we're listening to,
Mm.
the vibe that's around us, our bodies are taking in. You
Mm.
know that when someone that's really angry walks into a room, you can feel it,
Mm.
right? We emanate, we receive, and we also create. We emanate a resonance,
Mm.
and that resonance is either incoherent or it's coherent. So I'm going to say coherent and incoherent, when earlier when I was talking about Dr. Emoto, I said positive and negative, right? Angry as opposed to
Mm.
happy, which is not to say, I mean, both, right, are completely valid on the human spectrum,
Mhm.
right? Anger is a sign that your body, your boundaries have been crossed. So anger isn't a bad thing. It's not about trying not to feel anger. It's not about
It's
pushing
an
anger
indicator.
away. It's an indicator. It's communicating
It should
something
not be a
to you.
lifestyle choice.
It could be a lifestyle choice if that's what you are choosing.
When you said
However,
somebody comes into the room, you can feel their anger. Well, not if you have
yes,
that same thing. You just match.
you match. It resonates. It feels right to you. It
Yes.
feels
You don't notice.
comfortable to you.
Right.
You might not notice because it's so familiar to you.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different subtleties that kind of can lead into, whether that's comprehending that when we are taught that the world is chaos, that the
Mm.
universe is chaos, that the fundamental structure of the universe is chaotic, that that's normal.
This is just how it is.
When we believe
This
that
is
war
life
is a normal state to be in for half the planet.
because we have to do it. What
Right,
else? What
right.
other choice is there?
Because war is the way to peace. No.
Right.
No. That has been the way of a specific group of
It's just
people
been the
that have
way
been
we've always done it, not
running,
necessarily.
quote unquote. We haven't, but we have been taught that we have, which is why I used the word dumbed down earlier. It is not our intrinsic natural way to be. Um, Believing that that is normal, being surrounded, growing up in chaos, growing up in abusive environments, growing up, right? So there for some people, there
Mhm.
is an intrinsic recognition that it doesn't feel good.
Mm.
And so as you grow up, you gravitate towards what feels better.
Mhm.
Right? Now, some people are going to gravitate towards drugs because drugs feel better than that chaos, because there is this false euphoria. So,
Right.
right?
Right. It's doing for you what you can't do for yourself.
Correct. But there are also people who choose to then go in the opposite direction, find what feels better, heal, right? Feel the feelings that they weren't able to feel when they were in those really stressful environments.
Yep.
Feel those feelings, process them so that the body and the field is not holding them.
Okay.
And then start making more informed choices, not to not feel the bad, but to feel the bad consciously, to recognize it, to observe it,
Right.
to see what's happening, and to make a conscious choice about what you're desiring. Because ultimately, the way that you resonate, what you focus on, you're going to help to pull and create more of in your life. So again, I want to really stress, it's not about a spiritual bypass. It's not about pretending that there's nothing bad.
Right.
It's not about, I don't feel bad. I need to feel good. I need to feel good. Like
You don't
that.
want the toxic positivity. I think people,
Toxic positivity. Correct.
we know about that,
Correct.
that it's not spiritual bypassing, toxic positivity.
Right.
There has to be a balance.
Right.
So in one of my channelings, I got, recognize, address, integrate, and release. That is the angelic's guide to what you're
Beautiful.
talking about.
Yeah.
And that just to recognize takes a long time.
Yes.
At times.
Yes.
You know, for years
Yes.
I went through, or for many of us, I think, going through therapy, just to recognize what my emotion was, labeling that emotion, you know?
Right.
So first you recognize, oh, I was feeling very abandoned then. Okay. Then I have to address it. Okay, I was feeling abandoned. Where do I feel that? I have to integrate it and release it. Like, I don't think that it doesn't need to take years anymore.
Right. It can go pretty quickly.
It can
when
go.
you're ready. When you're ready to let it go, it
And
can
as
go very
much
quickly.
grace as you give yourself, not to
Yes.
rush the process, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It's complicated, but not.
Yeah. So it's a simple process, but it's not easy to do sometimes. If
Right.
you
I was just
allow
gonna say it.
yourself for things
Yeah.
to be easy, then it can be quick and it can be easy, but you really have to be ready, right?
And I think they just said, if you have a guide, sometimes having a guide is very helpful. I couldn't have done it without my guides, but I know that, and I'm talking about my guides, non-physical beings, but also guides like you. You're teaching me so much. My friends that come on Wednesdays, like that kind of thing, my shaman that I worked with for years to get to this point, some type of guide
Yeah.
is what you're saying. Because we're not meant to be
Yes.
alone in this world. We can do it.
I would agree, but I tend to lean a little bit to the left of that, or to the right of that, or
Okay.
underneath or over. I don't know.
A little
Really know.
different.
A little bit different. And
Okay.
I'm not going to say not. I'm going to say and.
Yeah.
And I think going within and comprehending our own inner guidance, not a guide that is outside of us, enlightening us, but our own recognizing our own inner guidance, our own inner resonance, our direct connection to source. Lots of times people think that they're connecting with a guide outside of them, right? My guides that are there, that are masters, and they're going to teach me.
But that's where I got with someone else. I couldn't have done it myself.
But
So
a
tell me
lot
how
of
you.
so that guidance is the self, the higher self, the future self connecting. And the reason that I specify the difference is because as we're waking up, as we're moving through the third density into the fourth density and then the fifth density for the time being, I like to say fifth through 12th through 23rd dimensional densities. Because that's where I've got my eyes on that ball. Simultaneously, as our dumbed down two-stranded DNA is coming back online organically, not through technology, but organically. as we're waking up, as the frequencies are raising on the planet because of the solar flares, people are saying, I've been for the longest time saying the spike in the Schumann resonance. Now people are saying, oh, the Schumann resonance doesn't spike. The Schumann resonance is statically at 7.84, 7.87, or 89. I can never remember the numbers.
Mhm.
That it's static, that what we're actually feeling is the solar flare frequency
Mm.
and the electromagnetics that we're sort of, as we're standing on the planet, we're in between that Schumann resonance
Okay.
and our atmospheric electromagnetic buffer. But the solar flares and energies come in,
Mhm.
go to the core, and bounce back. But our core is not, the Newtonian description of what our planet looks like is not what our planet looks like. We have an inner Earth. There are beings that live in the planet, on the planet, and around the planet. There are multiple dimensions, multiple densities that are existing in the same space and time. So, as those frequencies come down and reverberate back up, the way that our planet discharges that excess energy is through lightning storms,
Mm.
right? That's
And
the
earthquakes.
discharge. And the way we feel it is through heightened anxiety,
Okay.
right? Through anxiety, sometimes through emotion. You can be weepy, you can be angry. It's
Mm.
going to trigger whatever that density is in you to come up to be
Mm.
recognized.
Mhm.
So it's not that it's like, come up, how can I escape feeling anxious? Well, first you can recognize that maybe it's not about the thing that you're thinking about. Maybe it's just an energy wave moving through you. And if you can recognize it's not impending doom, it's just energy moving through your body. Dance. Go outside and take your shoes off and sit on the ground,
Or possibly just put your
right?
hand here if
Put
you're
your
at
hand.
work.
Sure. There's a lot of different ways
A
that you
lot of
can
people will
ground.
touch their necklace,
Sure.
right? Or their chain, male
Yep.
or female, either one. Like
Yep.
that's your
Yep. Yep.
body's natural.
It is. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So that type of guidance,
Mm.
um, and then recognizing that, going within, and what's that really small, clear voice that you hear inside? That's you,
Mm.
right? It may be you in a future version of you,
Mhm.
a past version of you. I like to refer to it as my higher self and my lower self, right?
Mhm.
That I can make a choice about who I'm going to listen to, right? My lower self is going to say, go to the refrigerator and grab the butter, make more popcorn, right? My
Yep.
higher self is going to say, what happens when you eat a bunch of popcorn? Your body doesn't like the corn. You have an inflammatory response.
Right.
You're actually going to get itchy, right?
Mm.
Like there's this, okay, do I need that,
Right.
or can I go for a walk
Yeah.
instead? Is that what's the thing that's happening that I can make an informed, conscious choice over? Because in every moment I have choice.
Right.
So these frames of reference, when we comprehend, the Newtonian way to understand things is just the physical universe. Nothing else exists. Nothing else is real. That's all woo.
Mhm.
Moving to the quantum field, we're looking at the particle and the wave, the way information travels in the universe. When
Mm.
we're looking at plasma physics, we're looking at what's kind of in between that space. We have a particle and a wave, but we also have information fields,
Mm.
the frequencies
So
that
the 100
exist.
monkey effect, is
Sure,
that kind of what you're,
absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
that's the way we can
Yes,
describe it?
that's information in the
Yep.
field that we have access to. And when enough of us are aware of that information, it sort of enters. A lot of people say, well, it enters the Akash. It's now in the Akashic record. So we're
Mm.
accessing the Akashic record. You're accessing the field of information that exists. That field of information can be programmed. So conscious technology programs the field with specific frequencies, specific geometries, specific
Mm.
light frequencies, and sound frequencies. 528, 432. And then as you look at the technology, you can see the frequencies and the geometries that are used, that are
Mm.
being called on to inform the field,
Yeah.
so that the field that you enter when you're utilizing their technology, you are entering this field that's like vibrating, like the core harmonizer downstairs creates
Mm.
a field of love and harmony. They were designed for offices, businesses, and homes, to
Mm.
bring harmony and coherence into the field in that space. As you're in the field,
Mhm.
It's you're beginning to now, in the same way that with biofield tuning, using
Mhm.
tuning forks, when you're using tuning forks, there's the frequency of the tuning fork. Your body is naturally going to say, "Oh, that feels better," but all of a sudden the fork does something that's really incoherent because it's finding incoherence in your field.
Mm.
And we just need to utilize the fork enough times that the body goes, "Oh, that thing that, oh, I don't want that." Like your body's going to autocorrect, right?
Mm.
Your body's going to autocorrect because it desires coherence. We desire harmony.
Right. We're
We
just not used
desire
to it.
peace. It's sometimes uncomfortable for us
Right.
because it means that we have to be in our stuff. We have to
Right.
look at our own stuff and feel it and see it. And a lot of people don't want to do that.
So I got a message
Yeah.
yesterday, and like you said, maybe my higher self, maybe my guides, either way, I take this information
Mm,
from whatever source it is. To me, it's all benevolent when it comes in. And I feel it like this. Said, would you like to be uncomfortable in the beginning and then be comfortable for the rest of time? Or would you like to just stay in your comfort zone and you will be uncomfortable the rest of the time? And that was yesterday.
mm,
So I think that's exactly what you're talking about. It's
interesting.
a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning.
Yeah.
They were talking about getting out in the world and showing yourself, empowering yourself, that it's very different.
Yeah. And that discomfort,
Yeah.
when you're talking about coherence,
Mm-hmm.
when the goal is coherence, that's very different from someone who's used to chaos, used to being in an abusive environment,
Right.
used to being in a chaotic, unhealthy dynamic.
Yeah.
So that's what they gravitate towards
Yeah.
because it's comfortable, it's familiar. It's a very different thing than the coherence, right? You may have to move through a little bit of the
It's a little
incoherence,
unsettling because
right?
it's different, simply for that fact.
It can be. So the
Yeah.
using the personal discernment, developing the self to be able to discern, is this thing that I'm environment, person, situation, dynamic, something that feels really familiar,
Yeah.
and there's information there about what's lying underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Am I potentially getting involved in another relationship that's going to be abusive,
Right.
right? Because there's familiarity here. I
Yeah.
know this.
Right.
Or is it, this is so good, I'm uncomfortable,
Right.
right? This is so good all of the sudden, right? So there's a lot of different ways that we have to move through and move through our own issues,
Yeah.
but we can't get there if we're distracting ourselves, if we're filling that space and unwilling to feel the discomfort. But also, I mean, simple things like recognizing if you're with somebody who listens to you,
Right.
if you're with somebody who's receptive to you, if you're
Right.
in an environment where people are truly interested in the well-being of everybody involved, or if it's a dynamic that's asking you to deny your own reality, squash your
Mm.
own feelings, belittle you, like that is so different. So
Mm.
and they can sometimes feel a little bit similar, but the more we heal from our own wounds, the more we release the density that we're carrying with us, the traumas that we're carrying with us,
Mhm.
whether that's current life, past life, concurrent life, however you want to perceive that, the more we're clearing that from ourselves
Mm.
and each other, the fields, what's here to what's being brought up, especially if we're people who are, um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Empath.
Empathic. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, uh, if we're empathic, we may be feeling what's in the field or what belongs to somebody else. We may also be feeling what is ours, but we like to think that it's somebody
Right.
else's.
It's
Um,
always easier for the empath to direct someone else's life.
yes, and not
Yeah. If you
feel
want an
and
empath to do
heal.
something, tell them they're doing it for someone else. You're doing a favor, but that's the lesson. That's the lesson for us right now. Lots of us were bit in the butt
Yeah,
for doing that too much. And
yeah,
so it was like we had to self-correct.
Yeah.
during, one of the many lessons I think from the pandemic for lots of us.
I call it the plandemic.
Right. So that will be another video, I think. We'll talk about that. So let's go back to water.
Mhm.
So you and I have been on journeys of self-discovery for years now. We've met lots of other people that were on self-discovery journeys.
Mhm.
We know a lot about this. Water for me has been something. I drink coffee, 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 water for just drinking regular water. But now I am distilling water. I am loving water. I'm doing all of this. How did you start with very simple things? If you can think back to the beginning.
I think it was just the realization that water is life.
Mm.
That staying hydrated is really helpful for a lot of different body functions,
Yeah.
just on a physical level. Um, and so I started drinking more water. And then I became really aware of fluoride in city filtered water systems, right? And
Mhm.
and the fact that fluoride calcifies the pineal gland, right?
Mhm.
It puts calcium around the pineal gland, so that dumbs down our intuitive psychic abilities.
Yeah.
And I was not interested in that. And so I started, initially it was using Britas and filtered water in that way,
Right.
trying to purchase water that I believed was cleaner, doing a little bit of research, not a ton, but doing a little bit of research about where my water was coming from, choosing not to drink tap water because of what is in tap water.
Right.
I don't
I
even
kind of
try to
know this
filter.
by now.
I don't even try to filter it anymore. So bringing in my water from, natural springs, or from places that you can purchase it, and additionally filtering that sometimes, structuring the water.
How
Um,
do you structure your water?
there are ways that water can be structured.
Mhm.
I've tried to build like uh, contraptions with marbles where it's moving down. Right now, I'm actually using a spigot, and as it comes out the spigot, it twists. The spigot itself will twist the water, so
Okay.
it's moving in a spiral.
Nice.
So that before I'm consuming it, it's moving. Um,
So
I
pouring it into a glass is not enough.
uh, it might be enough. It depends on what you want to do. I mean, I think that
Okay.
that's a personal choice. I don't think that you have to do it any one way.
Well, to
Um,
get that movement, to
mhm.
restructure that movement, like I like to have, a bigger bottle of water without restructuring it. I
Right.
pour it
So the
into a
neat
glass.
thing, hand me that water again.
Okay.
So
I never in a million years did I think that I would be doing all of this to water, but here I am.
so the neat thing about this bottle, right? If you take the stopper off and you pour it, the shape of this bottle, as it comes out,
Oh,
it's
okay.
gonna twist, right? So I think that is a positive thing.
Okay.
So
That would be enough.
m-
I'm gonna
that
try it.
what is enough, right? Do you feel better? Is there a way to test it? Is there a way? There's a lot of different things that you can sort of test out for yourself and
Mm,
see which way you do it, what feels better.
yeah, because I
Like
love
there's
it
an
being like
energy.
room temperature water.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Room temperature water. I put it in a glass,
Hmm.
a nice fat bottomed glass that won't spill, and then I try to just drink it. So you have other stuff in there. It looks like
Lemon.
citrus, lemon. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a little messy.
Okay.
Um, I just made that up before we came up here. So I squeeze lemons
Nice. Nice.
into, I have a lemon plant in the other room. I have a lemon tree in the other room. I
Oh,
got to finally use one of my own lemons
yay,
yesterday. It was so fabulous.
yay, that's so
Um,
fun.
And then, so the thing about distilled water, right, is
Yeah.
that it is demineralized. And so you want to make
Okay.
sure that you are replenishing your minerals.
Talk about that.
You can do that with sea salt.
Hmm.
Um, just put a little pinch, small, few grains, depending on this grain size of sea salt. I usually put a pinch of sea salt.
Hmm.
Celtic sea salt or Himalayan. I don't actually, I say Himalayan, it's not Himalayan. It's
Hmm.
real salt, which is from the Utah salt flats here
Oh,
in the States.
wow. Okay.
When I went through my biofield training, Eileen McCusick was really big on real salt because she said Himalayan salt's really great for people who are born in the Himalayas. Because the salt
That
there,
makes
you're
sense.
born there, resonates with your body in a way that
Right.
it doesn't resonate with our bodies. But
Right.
Utah salt flats is much closer to where we are from if we were born here.
Hmm.
And so, uh, though I'm first generation, I was born here. So I did a little bit of testing and I noticed a difference, a
Hmm.
very subtle difference. So I started purchasing real salt, which is pink and considered sea salt, but it's
Right.
from the ancient seas. So in Utah.
Wonderful. Okay. So what else do you need to remineralize other than
Um,
salt?
there are numerous things that you can do to replenish the minerals. Uh, you can purchase
Hmm.
minerals. I use monatomic gold.
Mm.
And so,
Do you put that in your water or you the monoatomic gold, or do you put it under your tongue?
so it comes in different forms, and depending on
What
what
do you
form
do?
you get it in, I have it in two different forms.
Okay.
I have it suspended in liquid, and I also have it in powdered form, and that takes just a teeny bit in that I mix into water,
Yeah.
along with like I have a concoction
Okay.
that I create in the morning with my
Yeah. That's so fun.
herbs and vitamins and minerals.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today. You
You're
covered
welcome.
this was like a general talk. I feel like you
Okay.
kind of spoke on several different things that I'd like to go back and like the biofield tuning. What is the light field foundation? Talk about sacred geometry. Like there's so many things that you touched upon here that I
Yeah.
would like to come back if you're willing
Sure.
to really
Yeah.
dive deep into. But this was a great start.
Yeah. Cool.
So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Ingrid,
you.
do you have a website? I'll put it under in the description.
I do not.
You do not.
I
Okay.
do not.
Okay.
I don't. You can contact me through the Lightfield Foundation. You can contact me directly.
Yeah. So if you want a biofield tuning session or something like that,
I
do
can,
you even have time for that these days?
I have very little time right now,
I was gonna say
but,
maybe you don't want
but,
to put yourself out
um,
there like that.
Uh, I do tunings and I do them through the Awaken Wholeness Center in Rhode Island.
Okay.
They are in I think the website says Charlestown, though technically we're in Richmond.
Okay.
But yeah, we are still trying to finish up before we have our grand opening.
Okay.
And then the light field is moving there. And
Yes.
so we're going to be there doing a bunch of stuff, and I will be kind of doing some traveling back and forth between Western Massachusetts and Rhode Island,
Wonderful.
hanging out with family, hanging out with friends a couple days a week. There to do that, and then here. But you can reach out to me through the Lightfield Foundation at scheduling@lightfieldfoundation.com. Even though we don't, right now we're closed, so we're not
Yeah.
taking clients.
Yeah.
We're not taking clients in, but you can go to the website, lightfieldfoundation.com, and sign up to get the newsletter once a month, and then the Sunday reminders with the links for 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Perfect.
for Sunday night Zooms.
Thank you so much, Ingrid.
You're so welcome.
Okay.